At the 2017 World Conference of Science Journalists in San Francisco, communicators gathered to discuss scientific controversies and technical breakthroughs. Here, ITER, the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor being built in the south of France, screened a documentary about fusion energy called Let There Be Light.
It premiered at the South by Southwest Film Festival earlier this year, and the interest in this film is enormous. It is not a PR thing that is done by ITER. It's an independent film that adds critical questions and leaves question marks, right? When will we see fusion at the end, right? We gave them all the freedom. They filmed inside the building, on site. There were no constraints, right? It was a perfect collaboration, and no question about that.
At the time when they started filming, things were actually not going very well. As you saw, the ship was beginning to tilt, and having the courage, I think Sabina and her colleagues at that time deserve a lot of credit for saying, please come ahead, go ahead, film.
This is our general philosophy at ITER, working in communications, and I'm talking to scientific journalists here. I've been a journalist myself for 15 years, so I've been on the other side of the table, and the goal is to be transparent and not to do this PR gig. But we talk to journalists, right? We really engage, and you are a very important factor in this game because we need public support. This is public money being built there. So, and we want to engage not only the politicians, the stakeholders, but also public. There is the science part, there is the engineering part, there is the management part, there is the political part. It's highly political, this game, which we also have to understand. It's not easy to communicate ITER over the telephone in 10 minutes. We struggle with ITER, we fight for ITER, we live with ITER, we breathe ITER because we believe in this project. It's amazing, and we have a lot of fun. And we invite you to have fun with us.
To make the trip to ITER and see for yourself.
The winning bid for the World Conference of Science Journalists in 2019, it'll be our 11th. I am absolutely delighted to announce that our colleagues from the Alpine Consortium have won the bid. This is the associations from Switzerland, France, and Italy. Big congratulations to them. I think it's going to be a fantastic
We are really very honored to be able to host the next World Conference of Science Journalists in Lausanne, Switzerland, in July 2019.
So the World Conference of Science Journalists is something that ITER's been going to for years. It's this perfect opportunity for us to go and meet the type of journalists that are interested in covering ITER and can even understand some of the science behind it and understand the impact it could eventually have and the complexity of it. So of course, we're there, we're going, either with a stand, with a presentation, just networking, inviting people.
Now we are on track in order to demonstrate the feasibility of fusion.
So you have 7 ITER partners representing 35 nations. You're almost like a mini United Nations. And then your hundreds of employees speak dozens of different native languages. And you also have to contend with their different science and engineering cultures, different terms and concepts, metric systems, different cultures for approaching risk and safety.
We have to work as an integrated team. Everybody has to respect some basic principle in order to work together. It's for me like a miracle that the 7 members has agreed to join their best effort for nearly 40 years in order to make fusion a reality.
Some people say if we solve the battery problem, then we solve the problem of intermittent renewable power. Is there a possibility that the world will never need the sort of fusion that ITER is trying to develop?
And you're right. If we are finding some way to store the energy, the solar energy, it could be no need of fusion. My experience in the field of energy, you need some quite large mix. You could not rely on just one technology. You need to accept to explore many more options.
We love the World Conference of Science Journalists and the Federation. When we heard it was in Lausanne, we were delighted because it's about, 4 or 5 hours to get here, and right away we knew we had to have a field trip. Because there's so many journalists that say, oh, we'd love to come, it's just too far, I don't have the time, I'm always working on deadline. So we just grabbed this opportunity and made a field trip.
Today is to give you a very short overview and then to get you out, get you suited up in hard hats and all that, and get you out into the work site. It's going to be the impulse to concentrate, quite rightly, on the complexity of the machine, on the engineering challenges, how incredibly large something is and how precise it must be. And that certainly is worth considering. But I would also ask you to keep in mind the multinational aspect of the project, because there was the decision not to give this to a single company to build and let everybody benefit, but actually to build it in 35 countries, to build and fabricate all of these components and then try to come and fit them together. We're hoping that your tour today will allow you to really get a grasp and then go out and tell others. Support means being transparent. You can talk about our flaws, you can talk about our good points, be fair, and welcome.
Hoppala. Those with glasses.
Pretty special. Forget your water.
As you know, we have to expect a dramatic increase in the energy demand in the next decades during the century. So we need to find an efficient source of energy. We need to reduce CO2 emissions. We cannot expect all that to be covered by renewable energies.
So I used to work for high energy accelerator research infrastructures, and I know how they look like, and I am so amazed to see a new equipment used here.
I'm really interested in what India is doing with particle physics. We also have a neutrino observatory underground coming up in India, and we're also involved in Fermi Lab in the US, which I got a chance to visit a few months ago. So I'm just taking things off my list, and it's amazing to see what we're doing with, not a lot of resources.
The key feature of this building is the heavy crane. So the tokamak machine is a big machine of 23,000 tons, so it's 3 times the weight of the Eiffel Tower.
I personally am very fond of these huge marvels of physics, particularly engineering and physics. From my background in engineering, I can understand what are the limitations in terms of time and resources and money which companies and organizations face when they're building such a project. But I believe that they're doing well, and I think we can expect good results in due time. I still am a student. I'm dealing with my dissertation and other stuff, but I intend to write a small piece which will summarize my experience personally during the conference, and highlighting specifically on ITER. What I really loved about this experience is that it was immersive. Like we were in there and we were walking through those phases of manufacturing and production, and those engineers were explaining things, and I feel happy that I can understand some of those terms because of what I studied earlier, so that gets me even more excited. I have tried not just to capture the location and how it looks. I've tried to capture some people while they're working. I like to see people, the emotion that they have, and they do look invested into this thing, which is what shows an outsider that maybe the things are going all right.
You're taking back the equipment, and then you have a chance to have some refreshments, and you will then meet the Director General, Mr. Bernard Bigot, and you can ask some questions.
What we know is the design, and we are quite confident that the design is appropriate to achieve our objective. What we don't know exactly now is how we will proceed to assemble all this huge equipment, with the requested precision. So we have what we call 7 domestic agencies working legally, independently of the ITER organization, contracting with their suppliers. I am frank with you, it is not the simplest way to manage a large project like this. But it was a prerequisite, and we have to agree on this prerequisite in order to move forward.
So when do you think the electric power plants will produce such an energy?
My time scale is the following. Okay, let's suppose that we work hard and well, and by 2025 for a startup, by 2035, they will take maybe 10 years to build the first plant, and it is around 2055, 2060 that I expect we will have the first fusion power plant connected to the grid. It could look long, and even with the urgency of the climate change and all these issues. But from my side, I work day and night and I do no more. So if you give me more money, if you give me more people, maybe I will accelerate a little bit. But not okay to have it tomorrow.
How did you decide which country does what? Like, what went into the decision that India would do the cryostat, and what were your expectations and how are we doing?
And for example, India believe that there are very good companies which could provide the cryostat, as you say, on time and with reasonable good pricing compared to other countries. So it was a deal among all the countries, and they agree specifically what I will provide in such a way that at the end the cumulated value of the component to be procured by India fit well with the 9% of the estimated cost. I pass the message, I encourage any ITER members to stimulate their companies in their country to build. The technology to be developed is so challenging that we need some of the best and most qualified companies.
And what that does is it creates the expertise in the countries, it creates industry, it creates jobs, and it also creates a sense of ownership, which is very important. So it's a very unique formula for addressing a global issue of finding a new source of energy. We still don't have the technologies to store energy in large amounts, so we need an energy that can provide baseload for the increasing demand all over the world.
You don't have to be a scientist to understand that this is really an exciting project. For us, we need you. We really need you to tell our story. So you can be critical, you can see what mistakes we've made or that we're learning from, but you can also see all the progress we're making and that we're on track, and the level of people working here and the dedication.
Now, nearly every day, people see some progress. Okay. More progress are expected in the coming years. But so it creates stimulation, it creates motivation. So you could not expect to have people working very hard if there is not strong motivation.
The ITER project is advancing. I see the future. I see the future. Yeah.
Not a single country, whatever powerful it would be, could easily deliver the ITER project in a reasonable timeline. So we could not afford the urgency to demonstrate fusion capacity. I am quite confident we will fulfill the expectation of the ITER members, make fusion a reality.
It is something which is good for the future. It is something which can be comprehended, it can be understood, it can be formulated, and I really hope for projects like these to move in time so that we can work and we can get to a better future.
What's kept me going, I guess, is the same as you. I have children. I am just one person in a long history of the mankind. I know that if we want to keep on with above 8 billion of inhabitants, we will need an alternate to the fossil fuel. And it's wonderful to know that nature has offered us an option. The option is hydrogen fusion. It works in the sun for 5 billion years. It is expected to work 5 more. It's clean and it's safe. It's very important that we could make sure that the large public opinion understand what is going on this side. it's public money, so it's legitimate that we provide any record and transparency of what we are doing. And even more, as you could guess, the lawmakers, the one which decide every year on the budget. So your contribution could help ITER in some way. Thanks a lot.
See you all in 2021 in Colombia. Thank you.